Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brenda Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brenda Yvonne. Here on my channel, we do fun recaps, discussions, and reviews of all of our favorite shows. This particular video, we are talking College Hill Celebrity Edition. It comes on BET Plus. If you don't have BET Plus, you should get it. But if you don't want to pay for it, I understand. Just come watch my videos, okay? So if you want to keep up with what's going on over here, you can subscribe to the channel, like the videos, hit that bell so you'll get notifications of the uploads. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the episode. And share the video where you got to share your content. Yes, I know I am late. I'm trying to get back motivated for YouTube, y'all. It's a struggle right now. I watched this episode actually because we talking College Hill Celebrity Edition. Like I said, this is season 3, episode 4, Lost in the Sauce. So I actually watched this episode last Thursday before in the morning before I left for my trip, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do the video real quick before I jump on the train to jump on the plane in Oakland." And then I was like, "Girl, like, what was I thinking? Like, time management where? Like, there's no way I was going to be able to get that video done." Okay, I mean, if I would have tried a little harder, maybe, but I couldn't get it done. Okay, and I had places to go. Okay, anyway, we gonna get back on track, y'all. I'm here. I know we have another. I think they came out with a new episode 5 last night or yesterday, so we'll get to it, y'all. Stay with me. We'll get to it. Let's talk about the episode. So basically, it picked up where they left off from the previous week. When Saucy went to go see his tutor, and Tamar thought he was doing the right thing, but then she realized he was out there partying. They told me it's a school night. Now, the next day, I thought they said it was a Sunday, but they're going on a field trip. So I don't know if it's an editing thing or she's calling it a school night because they're going on a field trip. I don't know. Anyway, um, Tamar said she want to see her tutor. So Saucy came home. I think the screen said like 5 or something in the morning. He going through the house, waking everybody up. He go in Nick's room, talking, "Oh, Nick sleep with a bonnet." That was funny to me. Anyway, he went to bed. He thought he feeling motivated. Now they couldn't get him to get up in the morning. Nick was like, "Come on, dude. Like, we gotta go. You gotta be part of the stuff." Everybody come in the room, like, try to wake him up. He said his stomach's upset. They must be bringing him some Pepto Bismol. I'm like, Saucy, bye. Claudia's like, "What would your baby think about this? Like, come on, you need the future for your baby." He said he putting that baby up for adoption. He would not make a good father. I'm like, "Oh, now the baby don't matter." Okay. Anywho, um, so they went on the field trip. The field trip was to the Whitney Plantation, which was a slave plantation. It's a museum or memorial now, but it was a slave plantation there in Louisiana. And this was a really good, powerful scene. And the guy, forgive me, y'all, I forgot his name. Was it Dr. Aztec or something like that? Anyway, he was giving them the tour. When they're driving up there, they said they felt like an eerie feeling. They felt like something bad happened there. You could feel it. Um, and he was showing them all the slave houses they had. I forgot how many people he said they cram in them slave houses. And then he showed the area you go in when you get in trouble. And then they were saying how, like, the worst thing to do, or the worst thing that was like that really sucked, was being born into slavery, and you were a kid until like 10 years old, and then once you're 10 you could be sold into slavery. I was like, oh my goodness. And then he was saying, like, if you got punished and they cut your ear off, like, that became your identity. They could not communicate. They were not able to read and write. If they were found out to be, learning to read and write, they got in trouble. We've heard all these stories of what our ancestors, our people have been through, but it never hurts to hear them again and hear from different, areas, different states and everything. And I really thought about this scene in another way because my dad's side of the family is from Louisiana. So it kind of had me thinking, like, could any of my ancestors possibly been there, right? Anyway, and I'm sure probably have. I never did, like, 23andMe or nothing, but I'd be interested to find out. So um they were looking at a wall that they, I guess, or the memorial area they had to honor all of the slaves that passed away there. And so the professor was saying, like, even though these people went through a lot and they had their dignity stripped from them. Also think about, because this was the media and writing class, right? Or literature, whatever it's called. And she was saying also look at how they still fought to have like their dignity and humanity and all that. And so I'm assuming she gave him some papers to read. And so Karlos did like a spoken word thing about hope. She told him to read. And then Tamar started singing This Little Light of Mine. And then the whole class joined in. They had these nice white roses or flowers they put out there. And, everyone was saying like it sucks that Saucy is missing this because it's really important. So I thought that was a cool field trip. I like that they go on these kind of, different field trips in the class for sure. So anywho, they go back to the house and Saucy is still in the bed. Nick was like, nah, man, get up. You can't be asleep this long. Like, come on. Like, you got to get up. Like, come on, come outside. We can talk. So Saucy goes out there as well as Nick and Karlos. Now, Nick, Karlos, and Saucy to me are like brothers, like the two older brothers, and Saucy's a little brother. So Nick is getting on Saucy like, come on, you need to come to mother effing class. Like, man, what you doing? You setting a bad example. People, don't want to just see the bad B, Saucy. They want to see you do, school. They want to see you complete it. They want to see you get your education and all that. So Saucy's going off and saying like, you can't tell me da. He's like, just because I still got to get the gab and you can't shoot a ball anymore. He was like, tell him to shoot a free throw, and he was saying his knees is bad. So he going off on Nick. Now Nick was trying to like get on his case about like, dude, you need to do school, right? And he wasn't coming from a bad place. And Karlos is there too. So Nick and Santana kind of got into it. Nick was like, nah, I ain't talking to him no more. Like, get him out of here. He can go. So Nick went back in the house. He was like, no, man, get your clothes on for football. I was like, was that a joke or he really about to play? They about to play football? Like, what they doing? But anyway, so Santana was like telling Karlos, like, yeah, I can see why you be talking about him all day because he don't be doing nothing. So he's just going off. And so Santana's mad. So Karlos was like, look, we need, like, it's just me and you talking here. Like, you need to come to school. You need to do the right thing and all that. So Saucy feels like, okay, you can't tell me to do stuff when you're storming out of class and having a bad attitude all the time. Like, don't call me out of my stuff. So he did bring that up to Karlos. And Karlos was like, okay, I'm going to do better. I know I came in hot before. Karlos was getting up, getting into it with the teachers, storming out and all that. So he was like, okay, I'm going to do better. And you got to cut a class. You got to do better. Saucy said that Karlos is like, he's like an uncle. He's an old head in the house, and when they speak, you gotta listen. So he said he gonna try to do better. He's like, but don't say I'm dropping out of school. Saucy also feel like Nick was trying to say he's a bad person, but Nick is like, I never said those words, and he didn't say he was a bad person. He's just telling me he need to come to class. So Karlos said he's gonna hold up his end of the bargain, and hopefully Santana does as well. He probably not. Don't look like he will. So they said they're going to get ready to go meet up with Tamar's man, JR. So JR makes an appearance on the show. Now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I thought in real life, like today in real time, I thought that Tamar and JR broke up, but I guess they're still together. Y'all let me know in the comments. I can't keep up with all the back and forth and what they got going on. I don't keep up with that. I don't keep up with none of that. Anywho, like I said, y'all let me know in the comments. But JR at this point, I don't know how long ago this was filmed. I'm assuming it was some months ago. At this point, they are going out and JR is coming. JR is a native of New Orleans. And so they go, they're doing the hookah, typical Southern, restaurant with the hookah and the drinks and all that. I think they're eating crawfish and he was showing them how to eat it. Santana was like, oh, Tamar, he one of them white, good, what did he say? Good white boys? I forgot what he said. But basically, like, JR can come to the cookout. That's basically what he was saying. So anyway, they was turning up, smoking hookah. Angela said not her thing. She not judging. Y'all can do what y'all do, but she not partaking. She is trying to really make changes in her life, and kudos to her. And I like that she still went and didn't, she didn't have to drink or nothing, but she still was able to let everybody else have a good time, and maybe she had fun as well, right? So anyway, Tamar twerking on her man, or whatever that was supposed to be. Anywho, they having a good time, but they're like, oh my God, we gotta go home and do our homework, gotta do an assignment. JR's like, have y'all been this place, that place? They like, no, because we've been doing work. So they get back to the house and they're like, oh my God, we got to do this policy thing. Now everybody went to bed, but Claudia over there trying to make food. She's trying to get it together. You could tell she's toe up though. She's telling Carlos, like, we need to do this assignment. Like, we got to present this bill or policy in front of the senator tomorrow, right? So I think she ended up emailing the teacher, the professor, and letting him know that they were not going to be ready to present in front of the senator. So the next morning, Santana, he was up and stuff, and they were like, oh my God, we got to do this bill. But they still gonna try to get it done. They said they're gonna work through lunch and get it done. Now, me, I would not have emailed that professor anything. I would have, if I would have went out and I did my work, first of all, which is happens. Okay, I'm not saying I've never done that. I've done that. I would have came home and probably just took a nap, like went to bed and got up early and did it, and like did it during lunch and did it while I was in the other classes, or like missed one of my other classes to do it in them classes. But they can't really afford to miss classes, so they can't do it. Like if they was in like regular college pace, they could have worked it out, right? But because they're at a fast pace, they couldn't miss the other classes, so they should either like went to bed, got up super early and try to work on it. They said they're gonna work through lunch, but it's hard, right? And it's definitely easier said than done. Like now that I'm older, and I'm saying is I don't even know if I can do stuff like that anymore. I'm about to find out though, because I'm, like I told you guys before, I'm going back to school. So I'm gonna definitely try to have better time management. So I ain't got to pull those all-nighters or get up early to do homework, but we gonna see. Anyway, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. And a lot of them are 30 plus. So yeah, you can't bounce back like you used to, right? Try to get your mind back going. Anyway, they go to class. Saucy's lollygagging. Now he was out eating breakfast and then he got back in the bed. I was like, what are you doing? So they was Nick him be like, nah, come on, man, today ain't today, because they got a lot going on. He's like, no, I'm coming, like, whatever. So Saucy said he was going to school, but he going to go in his own time. And he said that the more you tell him, like, try to get him to do the right thing, he's gonna do the wrong thing. That's the kind of person he is. And he felt like because he's the youngest in the house, everyone's trying to, tell him, like, encourage him and tell him what to do. And yeah, whatever. All right. So everybody left him. They go to class. They go to the philosophy class first, I think it was. And they were learning about, I think it was existentialism. I don't know if I said it right. Basically, like your freedom of choice to do whatever you want to do. And the professor said they're going to have a debate at the end of the class. That will be their final grade. That was like in the previous, I think. Anyway, so Karlos was saying, some people have freedom of choice, but they're not making the right choices. And he kept flashing back to Saucy while they're in the class. He over there dancing, talking about senior ditch day. He told them before they left the house, it was senior ditch day. That's why he ain't going. I'm like, Saucy, no. Even Tamar was like, first of all, who is senior here to have a senior ditch day, and why you didn't tell us? So anywho, so then they went to that, I think they then went to the philosophy class or the media class. Maybe the media class, because the professor was like, Saucy, glad you could make it. And so that's the professor that took him to the Whitney Plantation, right? So she was letting them know, like, I know I gave you guys all the homework, and you're probably like, oh, you're up doing those reflections, you tired, but just know that, like, you guys are representing HBCUs on a larger platforms, and a lot of time HBCUs get a hard rep because people feel like their students are not prepared, like they're not on the same level as some of these major universities. And I've heard those things before, like there's jobs who will look at HBCUs and not value it. Like if you went to that particular school, they're not going to hire you. Like my friend who is a lawyer now, and the first time I went to grad school, she was in law school at the same time, and she first went to an HBCU law school, but she ended up transferring to PWI one because they were telling her, like, hey, they're not going to, respect your law degree from this HBCU, unfortunately. And it sucks, right? That's the, you know, stigmas on HBCUs, because a college degree should just be a college degree, right? And just because it's HBCU should make it hold less weight than another university. Now, I think that like some of the bigger HBCUs probably hold a little bit more weight. Like a Howard is a pretty big HBCU, or Spelman or Morehouse, but still, like, it just sucks that, like what the professor was saying, like HBCU students have to work, you know, 3 times as harder to prove themselves, so that when they get in the real world, like they will be accepted, because you know they be trying to downplay our HBCU education. It just sucks. You know, I wish there was something, you know, we can do to make a change in that area, right? And that's part of the reason why I'm going back to school. But anyway, because I want to be able to do more in the realm of education than just teaching. Nothing wrong with teaching, though. Anywho, they had 2 women, and I don't remember their names. They're elderly ladies that came to talk about the community they used to live in. And forgive me, y'all, I tried to find the name of the community without going back to the episode, but I could not find it. So drop it in the comments if you. I know the name. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, so therefore, I don't know. Is it Zadaran? I don't remember. Anyway, put in the comments because I know y'all know it. Anyway, these 2 ladies are like the last 2 surviving people from this community. Now, this was a thriving community after the Civil War, so these people were like in this particular community are like 1 generation removed from slavery, right? And they were in this community, they're thriving, houses and all that. But then the government came in 1964 and took the land, and basically you were either forced to leave the land and get nothing, or take whatever money the government gave you to leave, right? And so everyone in the class had to interview those 2 ladies, right? So I don't remember everything everyone asked them, but they were just asking them general questions about like how it was before versus, you know, what happened, and advice they would have for moving forward. Um, Santana said, you know, he got a lot of key gems from them. They were, when they were talking with him, they said, you know, own your own land, or maybe it was with Karlos, but they said make sure you know what's going on around you. Make sure you on your own land. Make sure you know you stand up. Nobody can take nothing from you. They were saying how the community was really thriving. Like the houses started out kind of shabby, but then they improved. Claudia was asking about like how much money did they get. I think the loan lady said her dad didn't even really get like $6,000 or barely did. I'm like, that's nothing. I'm sure the government slapped them all in the face with some BS offers, and the thought of it pisses me off. But I do appreciate again this part of the show where we learn about things like that, because I did not know about this community as well as I didn't know about the Whitney Plantation, right? So like I said, they had to interview them and all that. So then I think eventually they got to the policy class, right? And so they said they got, you know, they at lunch, they was trying to get some of the work done, and they said they got something done, but they don't got, they came in there like, oh, you look good, you look bossed up, your sweater looking cute. Like, you know, they try giving him compliments. He's like, flattery will get you everywhere, but, you know, somewhere in here. And so they said, you know, I know you got our frantic email. We did get some stuff done. We didn't get all the pages done you wanted, but we did a few pages. So he said he did cancel the meeting with the senator, but he is looking to reschedule it. They're rescheduling it because the senator does want to see what they have. He said, I know, you know, I've given you guys a lot of reading, everything, because Karlos is talking about how much they had to read of all those policies, and I guess they had to read all those. Oh, I'm not looking forward to the reading. I'll be skimming y'all. Anywho, and he's like, it's too much. So he's like, you know, when I was in my PhD program, I would have to read like 600 to 700 pages at a time. Plus, I had my son. He's like, there was a lot of things I needed to do that was more important at the time. But, you know, I had to make it work. I had to push through. I had to get it done. He was like, right now, you know, you guys all have failing grades and completes because this is your final. So, you know, we need to make it work. He said, y'all got till Thursday to get it done. So Saucy fell asleep in the class. So anyway, they left. And then Saucy was sitting down like at one of them little like cubicle things. You know how at school they got the tables and the chairs and all that. And then the advisory lady came up to him to try to have a talk with him. And he said he's busy from 4 to 8. She's like, well, you haven't been coming to class. You've been late to class. You haven't been there. He was like, I missed one day. She's like, you can't afford to miss any days. He's like, it's 5 days. I missed one day. And I don't know if he called her Miss Lady or something, but she was like, it's professor or doctor so-and-so to you. And so, that he called her doc. He was just very disrespectful and nasty to the lady. He was like, where'd you get this information from? Where'd you get this information from? She's like, it doesn't matter where I got it from. She was like, well, can you come to the meeting? Because we're about to have a meeting about you. The same meeting that Ray J had to do like twice is the meeting Saucy was about to have to do, right? So anywho, or Jocelyn and Amber had to do the meeting as well last season. Yeah, so that's the meeting that Saucy was about to have to do, right? So Saucy said he was too busy and booked to go to the meeting. And so she was like, I heard you just fell asleep in one of your classes. So the advisor lady got all the tea on Saucy, right? But he not trying to hear it. He stormed away. Nick came there like, okay, what's going on? He storming on the elevator. He telling the camera people, can he just get a minute? So Tamar and Nick got Saucy out of there. Claudia came up, but by the time she came up, she didn't see everything that happened. Professor Advisor, I remember her name, I'm sorry, lady, said, this is not going to work. So she went to meet with all the professors. I didn't see the white one there. I think he was, though. Anywho, and they were saying, like, yeah, he don't be coming to class. The one lady with the dreads in her hair said she has not even met him yet. I'm like, oh, no. The policy professor said that he fell asleep in the class. The literature media professor said that he does not turn in any assignments. So they're saying like, this is not going to work. This is not a good representation of HBCU. Also, the media or literature lady said that the other students have came to her and said they do not feel good about this. And they feel like this is an embarrassment, putting a bad light on the university, because they don't want this being on a worldwide platform, millions of people or however many people watching BET Plus College Hill Celebrity Edition are seeing that this is what's going on at Xavier University, and they think that this is how the students are, this is how it is. And I totally get that, and I feel bad for the students in that way. However, y'all do not worry. We know what we watching, and we seeing Saucy cut up. We know that y'all are there taking it seriously. So I don't want those students to feel bad, because we know that this is an experiment and this is TV, right? We know that there's going to be people there like Saucy and whoever else not taking it seriously. That does not reflect y'all real students who are there, like Karlos said, really paying for this education, right? So, but I understand how they feel though. So anyway, the policy professor said, we do offer redemption here. And they were like, yeah, we can give him a second chance, but he has to want it for himself. Like, we can't make him want it. So I don't know if they're going to kick him out or what they're going to do. They were like, it's possible he can get it together, get his grades together, but we shall see. Anyway, y'all let me know. Do y'all think Saucy is going to get it together in time, or do you think he will get kicked off like Ray J and have to do 2 seasons? I don't know if Saucy would come back for another season. If he did, probably though, for the money, right? Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all thought of this episode. I'm going to do episode 5 next. Okay, so stay tuned. Like I said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you're a Love Marriage Huntsville fan, I did do the latest review for the latest episode for that, to make sure after you finish this video, you go check that out. And I'll talk to y'all again very soon. Bye.